Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Droid Life Show today, episode 156. It is Friday, October 27th. I'm Kellen with me, Tim. Tim's yeah.
Hey guys, how's it going? Tim here.
So on the show, we're talking more Pixel 2 XL stuff. As you guys know, our reviews are done, but there's been some drama, some display drama that we need to cover. Google's already investigated and weighed in. There's been a lot of stuff happening this week. So we want to recap all that stuff. We also got Android 8.1 this week as a developer preview. So we'll talk a little bit about what's new there, who can get it, when you can get it, all that stuff. The Essential phone had a price drop, actually pretty big price drop. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about if that's now worth buying. Verizon has a new way to charge you extra money, and the Misfit Vapor is apparently not vaporware. So lots to get to, but first of all, I just want to point out that Pixel 2 review went up last week, written review. The video review went up this week. So that's done, if in case you didn't want to read our, like, how many words was that thing? Like 4,500 or something written review. There is a video review now too. It's sort of a briefer version. Feel free to dive in there. So Pixel 2 XL, display drama stuff. Let's see. I don't think any of this had really popped up. Had any of this really popped up last week on last week's show? I guess some of it, not the burn-in stuff, right?
Right.
All right, so we'll catch you up. So Pixel 2 XL display, about the time that we wrote up our review, some people have been complaining about a couple of things. A blue tint or a blue shift in colors. I think I probably tried to show this last week on air. Anyway, so if you're looking at it straight, you're not going to be able to see this, but if you tilt it to the side, you get this kind of blue tint. It is there. It's there on every single version of the phone. The other thing then was the muted colors and muted color profile, which we pretty much decided was Google just tuned this thing to sRGB. And so that's why it doesn't look so vibrant and colorful as, say, like a Samsung panel. So we talked about that. And I think we talked about how you and I, it didn't really bug us. The blue tint, it's there. I look at my phone directly when I'm holding it, not from the side. So the blue tint doesn't really bug me. It is noticeable if, like, your phone's laying off to the side, you can tell that there's like a blue tint there. I don't think that's a deal breaker. Some people might. As far as the color profile stuff, Google said, like, look, we tuned this to be more natural, more muted. And then also, we were under the impression at the time that this was maybe more of an Android Oreo setup where they just kind of went sRGB and they're letting other people, like developers, UI designers, decide what color profile should be in their app. So anyway, we'll get to more of that. We talked about that. The new stuff is potential screen burn-in, image retention, differential aging is now the new hot word, I think, for that. So some people looked at their phone and with brightness cranked up a little bit, a full dark gray background maxed out, and the bottom of the screen where the navigation bar is, some people saw some burn-in where you could see a little bit of the navigation buttons and just that whole block area down there where the navigation bar is. And so probably rightfully so, people freaked the hell out a little bit. We're talking about a phone that had been used for 2 weeks and was showing signs of image retention, possible burn-in. That's something that maybe shouldn't happen within 2 weeks. So anyway, Google said, we're investigating it, and they did. So they investigated it, and oh, by the way, our phone shows like the slightest bit of that. Anyway, so they investigated. They came back yesterday, and for the most part said, yeah, there's nothing to worry about here. Which, of course, all the crazy ass Pixel 2 XL haters that probably weren't going to buy the phone anyway didn't really want to hear. But Google said, look, in our investigation, we show that, well, they called it differential aging. They also referred to it as burn-in. They also referred to it as image retention. They referred to it as all three things, right? They said, look, we put it through a series of tests, and our findings show that it is in line with that of other premium smartphones. They didn't name any other smartphones. They just said, look, it's in line. We don't think there's actually anything wrong here. And they also don't think it'll have any effect on day-to-day usage, is essentially what they said. Outside of that, or I guess I should say alongside that, what they're going to do anyway is give everyone a full 2 years on the warranty now instead of just 1 year, just in case there's some other issues there, some screen issues. So everyone has 2 years of warranty now with the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL. They also said that we're going to combat this via software. And so they're going to do a couple of things. They're going to adjust the navigation bar so that it fades out if you're not using it. And we'll talk about 8.1 here in a little bit, but in the 8.1 preview, that's already happening. So if you're not touching the navigation bar for a little bit, it actually fades a little bit, not completely away, but it lightens, should possibly prevent burn-in. They also said they're going to adjust the max brightness ever so slightly, which they think will help. And then I thought there was a third thing they were going to do. What was it? I don't know.
Did you talk about the warranty?
Yeah, it talks about the warranty. I thought there was a third software thing outside of the color profile. I'll get to that in a second. I swear there was a third thing. I can't think of what it is. I'm looking like right at the thing. Anyway, brightness, nav bar. I think they're going to just start working with more, probably more of their own apps, and then probably push developers to use a light colored navigation bar instead of a black one. And we're already seeing that in the 8.1 preview as well. That like when you're in the settings menu, for example, you no longer see a black navigation bar at the bottom. It's now like a light gray. So those are the three things they're going to do. Will those prevent this burn-in situation? Probably. I would imagine that will help reduce it.
Well, not to go on the edge of a conspiracy theory, but I find it odd that Google had this developer preview with these screen fixes ready to go as soon as news broke that the display is trash. So Google knew all along. I just want everyone to know, Google knew all along, obviously, with this update that's already rolling out in developer preview that you can download yourself through the Android beta. How can you tell me that it wasn't a real thing that they didn't know about? You know, I mean, what, they just whipped up this update with these fixes, these particular fixes that address all the issues?
Maybe they're just that smart, Tim.
They could be smart. No, absolutely, and that's why
they fix Bluetooth issues in like 6 years, but they can whip up just those software fixes. I'm with you a little bit. Like this was reported on the 22nd, I think, was when they got their first report. And when was this beta rollout? The 25th?
The beta?
Yeah. So the files. The beta started rolling out, I guess, yesterday, but the files dropped the day before.
Right.
And I'm assuming they had this fade out thing already in there with the lighter down. So I don't know. Maybe in like a day they just said, "Oh, I know how to fix this," and did that and wrote that. I'm not sure, but it is kind of funny that you point that out because it did happen really quickly.
Indeed.
And they said in this post, they threw a couple of posts up at their Pixel community forum or whatever the hell it's called. And yeah, they talked about how these were software updates like in the works and they're going to push them out in the coming weeks or something like that. But like I said, on those two things, the fade out and the white navigation bar, are already in the beta. So maybe that was just an easy flip for them. I'm not really sure. I mean, it already kind of has a light and dark modes built in. So maybe they're just forcing light mode for the most part now on that nav bar. As for the fade out thing, maybe that's not really that hard of a code to write. I'm not sure.
It's probably not. I mean, we're talking about the actual Android team. You know, if anyone can whip up a fix for software in no time at all, I would assume it's their engineering team. So
yeah, exactly. So that is there, and that should help combat that stuff. So the other side of it is the color situation. Okay, so the blue stuff, Google just says like they think the blue tilt shift is normal. They don't really think it's a big deal. I think they even said maybe other display panels do it. I'm not sure. All I would say is like, I sent Tim a picture yesterday. I had the 2 Pixel phone, my Pixel XL and Pixel 2 XL sitting next to each other, and they were both updating to the beta, which had a white screen up. And I was looking, they were sitting over here to my left, and I was like, went, oh my God, that thing is so blue. And I think I took a picture with the V30 and sent it to you. And it's like the most obvious thing ever. Like it's like the brightest blue you'll see on a display. And the Pixel 2 XL from that same angle, or I'm sorry, the Pixel XL from the same angle just doesn't look blue at all. It looks like a normal display. Google did say they tuned it to be on the cooler side of the white spectrum. Is there a white spectrum of white? Let's just say that. So it is generally a cooler display anyway. But it's from an angle you can see it. As for the color stuff, they said we tuned it to sRGB plus 10%. So sRGB, obviously a little more muted natural, which they said, but they bumped it up to 10% across all colors to hopefully make it not so drab. Obviously, it didn't work that well. Everyone still thinks it looks kind of drab and boring and dull. So what they're going to do is they're going to add a saturated color mode. So if you don't like the drab natural colors, you will get a saturated color mode where it just pops everything up, makes everything more vibrant. A couple things to keep in mind there. The way it's set up right now, it is an Android Oreo thing. There's basically better color management across the OS. And so they set it up to be this sRGB so that everyone else can decide what they want the colors to be in their apps. They also said that their apps will start taking advantage of wide color gamut. So when you look at other apps like say Gmail or something, instead of the red being like an ugly brown, it'll actually be like a vibrant red. That's just an example, right? So they will start updating those. Why they haven't already is that's kind of classic Google for you. But if you go with this saturated color mode, they just said that your colors won't be quite as accurate because they're basically just stretched out to make everything look colorful. And that just means you won't be quite as accurate. I'll let you guys decide which, if that matters or not to you. So I think that's pretty much where we're at, right? Google said their testing shows the burn-in issues are in line with others. They're going to add a saturated color mode, and to combat burn-in, they're adjusting some things in the OS. And otherwise, they don't really think anything's wrong.
I mean, these people are talking about the ghosting problems. I've seen, the video you post, all that stuff. I don't know if you remember, but there was a panel back in the day. It was on the LG Flex. And that phone had a ghosting problem like nothing I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, you'd be swiping and the widget would look like it's still on the screen that you swiped away from. It was so bad. I mean, and, we're talking about these kind of minimal problems. I label them as that because I don't see these as deal breakers, right? Others obviously do. Totally understandable. But compared to what problems used to be with displays, I mean, things are getting a lot better. So we need to try and stay positive, people. We can't just go burning everything down just because a display, the nav buttons are staying on your display a little bit longer than they should. I don't know. I like
only look at a dark gray background with the brightness cranked up.
Yeah.
It's not like if you flip open a YouTube video, you're going to see this like potential burn-in. You're not going to.
Yeah.
So like day-to-day usage, I'm not giving like a burn-in like a pass. Like if it really is screen burn-in, like that's permanent. That's bad news. The thing is like at the navigation bar area, you're almost never going to see if there is. I don't know. Google doesn't get like a pass for having some issues. No. I just am not sure these are. Well, first of all, they're not as. This is going to sound bad. I don't think there's as big of a deal as what everyone's made them out to be. Like the internet freakout chamber, I think I called it in my review. It's like these are subtle issues, perhaps. Number one, like the blue screen thing. I don't know. Like I don't really see that as a major issue, right? Like if you tilt the phone, there's some blue. Most of us look at our phone straight on. Most of us are always going to be looking at our phone straight on. That might be an issue with the panel. It's probably just because it's a panel that's like years behind what everyone else in OLED production is doing. Again, that's not an excuse. That's just what it is. Like you're not going to like Google's not going to recall these and put in a better panel that doesn't have the blue tint. Like this is the generation of OLED panels they're using. It's just there. If you don't like it, don't buy it. As for the color saturation stuff, this is just how Google tuned it. I don't think it's not a flaw in the panel. It's not anything other than this is how Google tuned it. And Google already said like, all right, fine. If you don't like this, we're going to give you a saturated color mode. So like if you were worried about the color, like they're going to fix that for you. So that'll be fine. The burn-in stuff, that's where there could be a serious issue. I'm not saying we should always just take Google's word for all of this stuff all the time. They said, look, we believe this is in line with other phones. I don't think they're lying to us. I don't. I should point out that I don't know how many people we've had tell us in the last couple of days that don't own this phone, that own another OLED phone, say like, oh yeah, when I did the test with the gray stuff, all that, I saw some on my phone too. Like Pixel XL, people said it. Before we started the show, someone in the chat said my Droid Turbo, same thing. So that's why I kind of am like, maybe Google they're saying the truth here. Like they're seeing this on other, I don't know. Either way, I still don't, I would still recommend the phone is I guess what I'm getting at.
I too would recommend it.
Yeah. And I think people will really enjoy it.
I like it.
And I still think it's probably fine at $850.
My Penguin's gonna be here next week, so
Penguin.
I'm super stoked. I gotta finish up the V30 review, but then I'm Penguin all the way.
Hustling through that. Gotta get on that Penguin.
Write this shit up.
Get on that Penguin. Yeah. So not to change the subject completely, but yeah, Tim and I. Well, no, we'll get to that in a second. The ordering not drama there, but the ordering stuff. We'll talk about this. But yes, we do have a Penguin coming very soon. I think we're one of the first somehow. I'm not really sure why.
I know how.
Yeah. All right, so that's kind of the drama. Google says fine. They're giving everyone 2 years of warranty, and they're going to tweak some stuff, which it already seems like they're doing. Sort of on a related note, I just wanted to point out that also this week, that company Ubreak iFix announced that they once again have the exclusive Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL. They are the exclusive walk-in repair shop, I should say. So if you have Ubreak iFix in your town, city, neighborhood, and something happens to your phone, that's the place like where you can walk in, and they have OEM parts to replace it with. The stuff's still not like that cheap by any means, but it is like OEM stuff, and they are the official partner.
There you go.
So yeah. Any other words here on the Pixel 2 XL's display? I just hope we can stop talking about it now.
Yeah, I would love to stop talking about it, but in the meantime, I love reading other people's hot takes about it, how Google should cease all selling of the Pixel 2 XL and all this good stuff. I love it. I think it's great. It really helps me pinpoint which people I should never, ever listen to again in this
the overreaction
industry.
chamber. They're probably the same people that also said that Samsung should kill the Note line after the Note 7 blew up, and that they should never sell a Note. Remember those? Remember those hot takes? Those were scorching. Just volcanic takes around the Note 7. We're now getting those around the Pixel 2 XL. It's like if you're not freaking out about something on the internet, especially when it involves Google or Samsung, like it's just not a day on the internet. Just not a day on the internet.
I love it. We got people asking if Ron has made a comment about the blue tint. I don't know if Ron has made an official statement regarding the blue tint of the XL, and you did also ask if he's just deep into the BlackBerry/iPhone world. He is so deep that I'm pretty sure he skipped the iPhone 10 pre-order and just went for the 8. Like, that's how brainwashed he is into thinking that, like, the home buttons are great and all this good stuff. Poor Ron. But yeah, we should try and get him back on the show sometime. It'd be cool to get his perspective on a lot of this stuff.
See what Ron thinks, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Just get him and Eric on.
And Eric, wow. Throwback. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, we've talked so much about this stupid display. Like, here's I guess my final bottom line. It's not the best display ever. I don't think anyone's out here saying like this is the best display ever. But just because it's not the best display ever doesn't mean like the phone is complete trash. It's not worth buying, that it should be recalled, that they should stop selling it, that we should take our review score away. Like, it's just not the best display ever. It's not. I know Google's going to say like, no, we think it's really, really great. Look, it's not the best display ever. No one is saying that. No one's saying that. I just don't think there are fatal flaws or issues with this display to make like Google stop selling the phone or recall it, or for you to not consider buying it. And that's why we keep saying like, just get the phone in hand, look at it with your own damn eyes, and you decide if you think it's worth it or not. That's it. It's not that big a deal. If you don't want it, just don't buy it. That's it.
You could always get it, and then if you don't like it, return it. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of options you can do.
Yeah, we talked about it last week too. Like people keep saying, like, should I cancel my pre-order? Should I cancel? No, you shouldn't cancel your pre-order because you don't know what this display is like until you actually get it in your hand. Like even like on video when I tried to show like blue tint and crap like that, I don't even know if that really comes through that well. Just go to a damn Verizon store. And if you don't like what you're seeing there, then cancel your pre-order. If
There
that
you
makes
go.
it feel better.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Are we done with display stuff?
Yeah, get it out of here. Get it out. Get it
All
on.
right. All right. So let's talk about pre-orders. So yesterday, Alphabet had their earnings call, and Google CEO Sundar Pichai said double the pre-orders on day one of the Pixel 2 versus last year's Pixel pre-orders. I don't know how many that is, if that's 10,000 versus 20,000 or like 100,000 versus 200,000. I do not know, but that's what they said. So that's something. People are excited about these phones. Of course, the internet is trying to kill that with all the display crap. I get it, but people were excited on day one and pre-ordered a lot. On a related note, Tim pretty much said yesterday that Google's still terrible at selling phones. Do you want to talk about why you think Google sucks at selling phones still in 2017?
Yeah, well, I mean, for the past few years now, we've seen Google have major issues when it comes to announcing, launching, selling, and shipping phones. That's just the way it is. We figured they would have, determined a better way to do it by now, or worked on their kind of logistics and all that stuff, but it hasn't happened. So I gave a little history lesson. We went back. We didn't go back too far. We only went back to the Nexus 5X and 6P. And
well, to be fair, the Nexus 6 was probably never sold out because no one wanted
it. Yeah, so we didn't talk about the Nexus 6. And the Nexus 4 was actually had a little few issues, like when the white one kind of made its way out there, that was having issues, but I didn't want to get into all that. I just wanted to talk about recent history, and the 5X and 6P had problems. The 5X was fine because I don't think a lot of people bought that one, but the 6P, again, just like all these new Pixel phones, there was a lot of excitement about it. It was really kind of Google's first good camera, really cool hardware, blah blah blah. So it was a good phone. Either way, people were ordering the phone, canceling and reordering because their second order was going to arrive sooner, blah blah blah. And that's the same thing that we have going on right now. You guys don't know, but I received tweets and DMs and emails from a lot of people who were complaining about Google and their handling of this shipping and ordering of the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL. Specifically the Pixel 2 XL. I mean, that seems to be the one that everyone wants. So either way, I gave the history. We talked about the original Pixel and Pixel XL. And at least from the evidence that we can gather, Google sucks at just kind of, taking in massive amounts of orders and then shipping those out kind of in that first come, first serve basis that you would think it is, but that's not actually how it ever goes.
It's actually pretty wild. Like, was it the 6P where it first started where Google said like, well, yeah, I think it was, right? They started shipping the 5X and they sent like a tweet out that said like, we're now shipping the 5X. And then with the 6P, it was silence. And then people went, wait a minute, why is my stuff not shipping? And then people started saying, wait, I just ordered a 6P and it's shipping like right now. And then pre-order people went, well, wait a minute, I pre-ordered and nothing. And so then they started like reordering and their order started shipping right away. And then everyone started reaching out to Google going, what's the deal? And Google, I think it was a tweet, wasn't it? Like, we ship Nexus 6Ps and the order they're received. And everyone's like,
no,
guys, like, we got the proof that is not true. And I think, didn't it happen last year a little bit with the Pixel and Pixel XL?
Most likely, yeah.
And then last year it was, I mean, we just did like a quick Google search on XL being able to buy one sort of thing. And it was like people were writing stories like as late as May, like a few months ago, saying you still can't buy the Pixel XL. We had some people that said they had pre-ordered and they still didn't have their phone in February. Like, that was crazy. I forgot about all that stuff. Just wild.
One guy ordered on Black Friday, so November of 2016, and his delivery date was February of the following year. I mean, it's just like, what's going on, man?
That's like Sega's nuts.
Oh, well, at least these phones are real.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing anything new then, unfortunately, this
Well, so
year.
that's sort of the point, right? So we a lot of feedback is coming in to us, right? Because I guess we have a voice, which I appreciate. And I like that people reach out to us and maybe we can light a fire under Google's butt to get them to start shipping phones. I mean, we don't really have that type of control, but what we can do is at least share the history, that we've documented ourselves over the years and just say, hey, if you're having troubles with Google and getting your Pixel 2 XL order in that you pre-ordered on October 4th, I'm sorry, but don't be too surprised, right? Because Google does have an unfortunate history of kind of letting people down when it comes
They
to these
do.
flagship launches. So,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
really
really,
do.
that's the main takeaway.
It's just so frustrating because when you go into this process of, oh, pre-orders are open, you just showed me your fancy new phone. I'm really excited about this. Here's $950. You don't do so thinking that Google's going to screw it up weeks later and your phone's not going to ship and then it's going to disappear. Like, kind of what got us looking into this was one of our readers, name's Wayne. He reached out and he had, I think, a Penguin ship date, one of the earlier ones, if like the 23rd or 24th, somewhere in there. And he had, I don't know if he had either not been charged or he had no shipping info, whatever. He reached out to support and ran through, what did he say, an hour and a half conversation or something along those lines. And he couldn't get an answer. He couldn't get a, when's this actually going to ship? Has it shipped? Am I charged? What's going on? I don't know if he ever got an answer. We haven't heard back from him. So I'm not sure if his phone ever did ship, but like that's what's going on. Like, people have estimates of when their stuff's supposed to ship. Nothing happened. They just don't know where their phones are. A phone that they dropped or are planning to drop, $850, $950 for.
Well, especially when you are given an estimated date, right? And of course, it is an estimation, but with anything else, right? I mean, if Amazon tells me my package is going to be here on Friday, I expect it Friday, and if it comes Monday, not only is it a inconvenience, but I feel like I was lied to. I'm
Yeah.
given that date. I mark it on my calendar, and human beings, right? They anticipate things, they get anxious, they get excited, and it's like a roller coaster of emotion when you spend that
Oh
much
yeah.
money on something unrelated. But that's why I don't do Kickstarter stuff,
Oh
because
right.
you give up say you give up a lot of money up front, then you have to wait a year or something. Like, my body cannot handle that
Yeah.
type of like patience. I would blow up.
And almost
So
none of them ever hit their time frames, right? So then you're just like, then you're
exactly.
really stuck
Yeah, you
going,
you don't want to be in that purgatory or that limbo state of waiting for
sucks.
something to come with money already out there and out of your bank account. Like, that's just not what you want.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
So with this Pixel 2 stuff, 2XL in particular, it's the Penguin version. It's the black and white version. I don't know that anyone's received theirs yet. So it's just another example of Google kind of being terrible at this stuff. You can order a just black 2XL or 2 and get it within a couple days, I'm pretty sure, still at this point. The black and white version, I don't think anyone's actually that ordered one has received one yet. And the phone was supposed to release last week. So it's pretty obvious that Google either had issues manufacturing it, or because I don't think at this point we can just attribute that to not enough inventory. Like, no one has the phone yet, right? I think a couple of reviewers maybe got one. I think there's a couple lucky reviewers that got the black and white. Almost all other review units, including ours, were black and white. Like, that's kind of all that was sent to anyone.
Just
So
black.
just black, sorry. So yeah, it basically shows that they had issues with the white one. With that said, like an hour after Tim writes this story about how Google's terrible at this, we got a notification that our first Penguin order that we would put in, right when the things went up for pre-sale, got charged. So it's just a 64 gig, so $850. But it was literally within like an hour of Tim writing this thing. So ours got charged, and it shipped today, and it should arrive on Monday. I can't tell if we're the first people on the planet has shipped or what, but we're not getting any other people saying that there's I would figure there would have been a lot of excitement. Like, a whole bunch of people would have been like, my Penguin shipped. We haven't seen that. So the weird thing there is, so that shipped today and the order got charged. So 26th, 27th, our estimate was like November 6th was when we were supposed to ship, and we were supposed to get it to like the 10th, something like that. So Google, like, what the hell? I'm not complaining that ours shipped 2 weeks early, but
No.
I mean, our estimate was out there. It shipped 2 weeks early. Like, I can't imagine what's going on with everyone else.
Yeah, well, we know other people who ordered the phone right around us, and they still haven't gotten their shipping notification. So
Right.
it's a real cluster.
It is.
And that's no good, right? And we're talking about Google, the master of algorithms and Skynet and big AI and machine learning neural net. You'd think they'd be able to ship some phones like
Maybe
on
they'll make some
time.
phones, ship them on time.
Yeah, maybe we just need to have Google Assistant handle all of that stuff for them or something. They obviously need like an assistant. So
It's just bad. This year hasn't been, I don't think, quite as bad yet. We don't know. Obviously, the black and white could have issues and it could be
oh
delayed
god,
further and further down. I have no idea. Sundar said during the earnings call yesterday when he talked about the pre-orders that they're trying to strengthen all their go-to-market strategies, which I'm assuming means also manufacturing enough and estimating demand and all of that. So he said they're trying to improve this. They're getting into more retailers. They're getting into more countries. So they're really trying to push hardware. But so far, it's just yeah. I mean, it's obvious. The black and white one, they had some issues making it or delayed or whatever. Like the first units are shipping now, and the phone came out last week. So
well, I mean, yeah, we're talking about this. It's a bad look for Google, but still not as bad as getting your brand new phone and having it blow up your house or something, and having major recall or something. So so far so good. I'd say some blue tint, no big deal.
little blue tint here,
Little blue shirt action, no big deal. It's not
yeah,
blowing up. Your Jeep's not on fire.
it's true. Jeep's not on fire.
It's good.
Oh,
Oh man, no huge like FAA regulated announcements before every plane takeoff. Oh god, how is Samsung even still a
how
company?
embarrassing! And then they sold record amounts of the Note 8. They should have killed the Note
Shoulda
line, though,
killed.
Tim.
I
Could
know.
have killed that Note line. Selling record amounts after your previous one blows it. Yeah, every time you got on a plane for like 8 months, sorry, but you need to turn that Note 7 off. You're not allowed to have that on the plane, or you will be arrested. It was just what a
Oh, it's
mess.
ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. All right. That's pretty much it on the Pixel 2 front. So again, our written reviews done, video reviews done. I mean, we both still have the phone, but as you mentioned, we are both fully invested back in LG V30. So for those of you again looking for LG V30, those reviews will be up next week.
Ben in the chat, he says, "Here's the thing: the Pixel 2 is a failure. Instead of talking about the successes, which I'll put like little parentheses, I'm sure he's talking about the camera, maybe the fact that these pixels are waterproof, water resistant. We are here stuck with failure after failure, shipping, screen issues, high price, ticking noises, etc. We didn't talk about this whole ticking thing, or you didn't know? You didn't mention the
No,
ticking.
we wrote it up today.
Yeah. I have the Pixel 2. I didn't have any ticking sounds.
It's because you don't call anyone.
Well, no. Apparently, it's not supposed to be when you're calling, right? You just hold it up.
The
as
hissing
if you're,
is. That's right. The hissing is like a calling thing. The ticking, I have no idea.
Yeah, I've tried calling someone, but it was my Google Voice's problem, not the phone's problem. But I don't know. There are a lot of problems, but these are still good phones. I just wanted to kind of get that out there. Like, you might see these as failures, but the general public probably doesn't know about any of this stuff.
In a couple months from now, we'll probably forget about all this crap. Right now, I know it's all we're talking about. It's also the only thing to talk about right now. So we're dissecting.
It's the
phones,
news,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're diving into every little tiny thing. I don't think we're gonna be that worried about this in like a month or so from now. The story I think we should worry about is whether or not you can go buy these things easily, right? Like if you can go buy the black and white one, say for Black Friday, you can buy one. That'll be a big deal. Previously, you haven't been able to do that because last year didn't Google have some sort of Black Friday deal and everyone was trying to jump on it and you couldn't really because you couldn't buy the damn phone. But that changes.
Ridiculous. All right, sorry. We can move on from Pixel.
I think these phones do have some issues, and Google's hopefully straightening them out. Typically, they think they can fix everything with software. So with the Pixel 2 stuff, let's see. Just buy the Pixel 2 XL. Just kidding.
Well, everyone who's waiting for your order, just go ahead and cancel it, reorder. Your phone will arrive next week.
Probably. That's actually probably true. All right. So moving on then. So Android 8.1 was released this week. It is Android 8.1 developer preview, and it's available to the Pixel 2 XL, Pixel XL, Pixel C, Nexus 6P, Nexus 5X. I did skip the Pixel 2 because it was initially available for the Pixel 2, and today Google actually pulled the files for the Pixel 2. I have no idea what that means, but they did. So obviously there was some bugs or flaws. They said it'll come back with probably the next preview. So if you have a Pixel 2 and you want 8.1, you're kind of SOL at the moment. We've got it running on Pixel 2, Pixel XL, and did a short comparison video today of what's new. Not a lot. For one, Tim wrote up the official list of what's new the other day, and I don't know what any of it means. I don't know about you, but there's like neural network stuff, some notification alert sounds stuff, improved targeting for low RAM devices. They tweaked the autofill framework a little bit. Like it's developer stuff, not necessarily feature stuff that any of us really care about. But they did tweak some of the UI stuff, which is stuff that we do care about. In particular, if you're coming from a Pixel or a Pixel XL, the last year's phones, you are now, for the most part, upgraded to the Pixel 2 experience, where like on your home screen, if you're using the Pixel launcher, your search bar moves down to the bottom. You get that new widget up top that shows upcoming calendar items and weather. You get the theming of dark and light themes depending on your wallpaper. So like that stuff's in there now on Pixel. In terms of other new stuff, well, we talked about earlier that navigation bar fade that is now built into 8.1. There's more transparency everywhere, like the pull down shade. If you get into the quick tiles, that's now transparent. That's kind of it. Like they moved some settings around. That's not really like features to like brag about, but they tweaked some stuff.
Yeah, I think this update, especially with regard to, some of those kind of special software tweaks that the Pixel 2 has and those going to the Pixel and Pixel XL, the original first gens, that's big for those owners because they may find that, they don't need to upgrade or anything like that. Because the original Pixel and Pixel XL are still fantastic phones, great cameras, good battery life still for me.
Yep.
So when you get updates like that and they kind of revamp, refresh it a little bit, you're like, dang, it's kind of like a new phone. And it
is kind of cool. Yeah.
At least in my mind, it kind of proves that when you buy a Pixel, you aren't going to be forced to get that next iteration the following year. Like maybe you can hold off, unless you're like an addict and you got to have the newest new. But for me, I could see how plenty of people would be just fine sticking with their Pixel and Pixel XL for another year and waiting. So
and I hate to do this comparison, but in a way, it's like Apple devices, right? You got an iPhone 6, I guess it would be 7 to 8 this year, right? If you had a 7 and then they announced the 8, you kind of get almost everything that's in the 8 via software outside of like some camera stuff. I think there might be a couple exclusive things there, the color of the phone, whatever, right? But in a way, you get all that stuff on your previous phone, so you don't necessarily need to upgrade. It's kind of like that right now with the Pixel XL from last year and the Pixel 2. Sure, the designs have changed and the cameras have improved. Like you get the portrait mode and you have the now playing and always on display. There are still some stuff that are exclusive to Pixel 2, but yeah, for the most part, the software experience, you kind of get what's on the Pixel 2, which is cool.
It's great.
Yeah. So if you want that update right now, as long as you don't have a Pixel 2, you can opt into the Android beta and it'll push right away. Those files went live yesterday afternoon. So you can opt in the Android beta, or you can download factory images, OTA files if you really want to go the hard route. But of course, you need an unlocked bootloader in order to do that. Just get in the beta. It's totally the easy way to do it.
Yep. Don't go flashing files. Don't go unlocking your bootloader. That stuff is so 2010. It's just not even cool anymore.
Well, if you bought the Verizon versions, I don't think you can unlock the damn bootloader anyway. So,
oh yeah, good point.
The only ones you can are from the Google store.
Yeah, see, Verizon knows what's up. I mean, they know that people should not be messing with their phones. It's the way God intended it.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
All right. So in some kind of random news we dropped on the world this week, 2018 Pixel code names. Now, I know this sounds weird because it's so early. The Pixel 2 just came out It's not even 2018 yet, and we threw out some potential Pixel code names. So, source of ours who we trust told us to expect Albacore, Blue Line, and Crosshatch to be code names for next year's Pixel phones. We weren't able to verify with a second source by any means. We've been sitting on this info for actually quite a while. Actually, for before the Pixel 2 was even announced, I should say. That's how long ago. But this week, in an AOSP sort of bug or something that Google was looking at, they actually listed out a device called Crosshatch, and it was listed as a Google device. So
Boom!
we decided to run with the info to at least get it out there. Will these be the names of the 2018 Pixel devices?
Who knows?
I mean, it's so early, that that's tough to like say, yes, these will be the 3 names. That listing of Crosshatch is, I believe it's still live. Let me look. So Google obviously isn't worried about pulling that and the fact that we reported this. So either way, just kind of keep an eye on those 3 names. Last year we saw Walleye, Muskie as the first 2. I will say that this source told us that Muskie was the name before Google announced the Pixel and Pixel XL. We just didn't run with the information at the time. I'm not trying to like give us an excuse. I'm just saying this source gave us that name Muskie before, I think Muskie and Walleye, I think he gave us both actually, before they even announced the original Pixel and Pixel XL. He told us the names for the Pixel 2. So that's just, I'll just say that's kind of where this information is coming from in case you were wondering. So yeah, he told us the Pixel 2 name before the Pixel was even announced yet. So anyway, that's why we trust this information. He also told us about Timon, which actually ended up being the Pixel 2 XL before anyone had heard that name. So, you know, we do trust the information, but look, it's early enough. These things could change. We all know Walleye. Was it Walleye or Muskie that got killed? I think Muskie got killed, right?
I thought it was Walleye.
Yeah, it could have been. What we know is the HTC made Pixel 2 XL got killed, whichever one that was. So we ended up with Timon and whatever the other one was. So
right. I think it's totally awesome that we're already hype beasting 2018 Pixels in October of 2017. That's totally cool.
Yeah, kind of funny.
It's really fun.
It is kind of fun. So yeah, who knows if they'll stick, but we're throwing them out there. Keep an eye on that stuff. You may see them pop up again throughout the future. So
Sean in the chat says Muskie dead or RIP to Wally. I don't think anyone knows which one's which. We just know that one of them died and one of them made by HTC.
I can tell you right now.
Could be launching soon.
Muskie died.
As the U11 Plus.
Muskie died.
All right, so Muskie died.
So Muskie was the 2XL and it died.
Right. But it's going to rebirth as like a phoenix into the U11 Plus.
I think it was I think XDA found a mention of it in AOSP and something like 8.1. They found some mention more of Muskie and that it was going to have like a 3,800 milliamp hour battery. And I know that the 2XL we have now is a 3520 milliamp hour, and the battery life is fantastic on it, but it looked like the HTC made version was going to have like a mega 38 something battery. Unfortunately, the design on it would have been garbage and it would have had huge bezels, but
yeah.
It was it apparently would have had a really big battery.
Yeah.
All right, moving on into huge news. The Essential phone is now permanently $499.
They're giving it away, people.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic. So well, I think it was last week. Best Buy dropped it by $100. So it was a $699 phone. Best Buy dropped it to $599. I think Amazon even dropped it to that as well. So you could get it for $100 off. We were talking about how cool that was. And then kind of out of nowhere, Essential says, actually hold that thought. We're going to drop it to $499 going forward. So a $200 price reduction. And I'm going to actually pull up exactly what they said here, because it's just kind of an interesting move. So starting today, we're offering a $499 on essential.com, but you can get it at Best Buy and Amazon for that same price. They said one of our driving principles is that premium craftsmanship and the latest technology shouldn't be for the few. We could have created a massive TV campaign to capture your attention, but we think making it easier for people to get their hands on our first product is a better way to get to know us. So rather than spending money on marketing, they're just like, let's cut the phone $200. Either way, they probably have room to move there. It's probably has nothing to do with marketing, but
Room to move there. No, they have warehouses full, boxes full of these phones, and they've got to
they got
unload
to start
quick.
moving these things.
Yeah. They're like, oh,
Uh,
God, no one's buying our $700 Jank Fest. I guess we should probably mark it down.
so yes. So one of the other cool things they're doing though is if you had already bought one, so if you're one of the 5,000 people or whatever that story was that bought one, they're going to send you a $200 friends and family code. So if you want to buy another one or you want to buy that stupid 360 camera, there you have $200. So then you could get a second phone for $299, which is kind of a hell of a. I mean, when that code shows up for us, we're buying the damn white one. You
Oh,
know
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had some people ask us though, like, is it worth it now at $499?
Sure.
Wow.
It can only get better, right? I mean, Oreo's going to fix it up. It has to.
I hope so. It's a really tough call, right? We're now talking a $499 phone. You know, it has 128 gig storage, right? So let's say you need that much storage. You were going to buy a Pixel 2 XL. It's almost $500 cheaper than the Pixel. It's $450 cheaper than the 2 XL with that much storage. The hardware is still insanely nice, right? So there's two problems with this phone. The cameras are average, and the software performance is still pretty terrible. We know software performance can get better. Like the hardware is there, right? It's got 4 gig RAM, Snapdragon 835. It's running the hardware that everyone else is running. We just don't know if they have the software team to make this phone run better. And like you just said, maybe Oreo will like usher in this new era of Essential phone running buttery smooth, and it'll get rid of some bugs.
It
I
could.
hope so. But the other thing then is the camera. So $500, is it worth having that camera in your pocket every single day? I don't know the answer to that. Like I thought, you know me, I like this phone a lot. I think the hardware is some of the best. I would still almost take this phone if this phone had a great camera, it would be tough for me to not be carrying this phone around every single day because the hardware is that cool and it's that nice. But man, that camera, it is just not that good.
I would take the crappy camera probably, like to get that hardware. Like the hardware, it's so sick. It's unlike anything else.
Yeah, it is.
And at first, I didn't even know it was really going to be like all that miraculous until I held it, and it kind of changed my life. And ever since then, I've been wanting a phone to be like that. So once we get that white one and 8.0 comes out, I will re-review it, and I'll give you my opinion on it if it's worth. Because what, $500, dude? I mean, how is that not worth it?
It's pretty much a damn good deal. So you're in at $500. You're in OnePlus 5 territory. OnePlus 5 hardware not as nice. Camera equally as bad. You definitely get a better software performance and experience on OnePlus. Because they kind of go that stock Android, but then they've added on, right? Like themes and some other things where you like dark and light themes, it's like custom icon package. Are they still doing all that on OnePlus 5? I think so. But they've added some extra features, right? So like with Essential, it is as bare bones AOSP Android as you can get. The only thing they did was create their own camera app, which is garbage. So like it's bare bones. Like there's no double tap to wake. There's none of that stuff. Like it is, and they still made it have terrible performance. So would I buy it over the OnePlus 5? Like that's tough.
I would.
Just because the hardware feels that nice.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the OnePlus 5 compared to the Essential phone, it's like night and day hardware wise. Like, like
this design hardware, like you got that all display front that looks awesome.
Like
the titanium.
It's a neck snapper. I mean, people see that thing on the table, they're like, what is that? And
so
that's important.
This girlfriend wife test often with our phones. Like I handed that to my wife, and most phones she's like, this phone sucks, it's too big, I don't like this, I don't like that. I handed that to her and she was kind of like,
oh dang,
this is pretty sweet. Like it was one of the few phones in the last year where she went, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, that takes a lot. That says a lot, man.
It does. So I don't know. I'm not going to tell everyone to run out and buy the damn thing, but $499, it is certainly worth looking at right now.
It should certainly be on your radar. And if you still
Oh, yeah.
never held the Essential, I know we've said this a billion times, but go into a Sprint store if they still have it, and go
I
pick
think
one
so.
up and just go feel it. It's it'll make you a believer. But yeah, I
Got
mean,
white one in stock at Best Buy.
my recommendation on the Essential phone is really contingent on if Essentials up 8.0 update is any good. You know,
Mhm.
if they revamp a little bit, maybe they hire a couple of software engineers and add in a couple of features like double tap or something like that. They really got to like maybe just fix the camera a little bit. Uh, it would be huge. So,
I'm
so
just
there it
every
is.
time I look at the phone, I see the white one. I'm just like, God, I want to buy that thing right now. I have no
We're
idea
holding
why I
off.
need it, but no, yeah, we're waiting for that $200 coupon,
Yeah.
which apparently takes a couple weeks. So if you did buy the Essential phone, you're waiting for that coupon. There's a form you got to fill out, and I believe it said it takes a couple of weeks for that to show up. So
That's stupid though. I gotta say,
see,
like
there's a
it.
coupon.
Yeah, they should just apply it to your account or whatever. Just it's a code. Come on, Essential. Why does everything need to be a
I don't know.
process?
Yeah, I don't know why it needs to take. I know that so they had to verify, like I had to punch in an IMEI, some other code, like to verify that I'd purchased it, where I bought it from, all this crap. And now they're going to send me a code in 2 weeks. So I don't know who's handling that for them, but yeah, it just seems like it should be easier than that.
Yeah, it's not like they have a ton to send out. You know,
Well, it's like you said, they have a history in my account. Why can't they just apply it
apply it.
or send it to my email already? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, though.
Sean
So.
asks if the Essential phone works on Verizon.
Yeah, it does. It has been certified now for Verizon. I believe it was still having issues, like handing off between Wi-Fi and then attaching to the network. Like I was running it on Verizon, I think before I jumped onto the LG V30, which was before the Pixel 2, and it was having massive Verizon connectivity issues. I didn't have those on T-Mobile, but a buddy of mine owns who had the Essential phone initially on Verizon, had those issues, sold it, then just rebought one after the Pixel 2 XL display drama, and he's using it on Verizon. And I don't think he has the issues now. So I think they've worked some of that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So yeah, Essential phone works on Verizon.
Nice.
No.
Erwin says he prefers real Google, faster updates, like, you know, so getting like a Pixel phone from Google instead of Essential. Essential is one of those companies that's like on paper partnering with Google to make sure the Oreo update goes out quickly. Not a lot of partners are saying that. So the fact that the Essential phone should and probably will have Oreo before the end of this year, uh, that's pretty darn good.
They actually told us when to expect it. It's not super soon, but it's
Well, it's not next week, but it's not next year. Like your
isn't it
any
like
Galaxy
next
phone you have
month?
in your pocket right now.
I think it's like next month.
That's not
Let me
bad.
look.
Around
I know
Thanksgiving.
they're obviously testing it. Let's see. Let's see. They said this. So this was on October 9th. They said we're in the process of testing it as we speak. We're making great progress. Target is to have a public beta available within several weeks that you can try out before we release globally. So, I mean, you could have a public beta of Oreo on the Essential phone next month, like November. That's not
That's
bad.
that's not bad at all.
No, and they've issued, I think, 3 updates, maybe even 4 since the phone came out to try to fix the camera, to try to fix some other software bugs. They've actually done quite a bit of stuff. God,
Um,
look at this thing.
did we get an update on the
So dope.
green ocean or ocean mist or whatever the heck that one was
Well,
called?
so there's that and the gray. Um, they've talked about it a couple times in AMAs. Speaking of that, weren't they going to do like bi-weekly AMAs? They must be up for another one. They talked about it. I'm looking right here. Must have been in the previous AMA. I don't know. They talked about it, and I just don't think I honestly don't think they'll ever make the gray or green one because they didn't sell any of these black and white ones. Like,
Because everyone was waiting for the white and the green.
yeah. But
Ocean
I
depth.
just, yeah,
Thank you,
ocean
Wade.
depth. Yeah, I don't think they're. I think they said they're still evaluating is what they've kind of changed their stance to on that. I think that's
It's
what they
over.
said. If you
Not
go back
coming.
and look at those 2 AMAs they did, they talked about it. I'd imagine there's no reason for them to make it because no one bought the damn phone. Look at this thing though. It's so badass. Now here's Pixel 2 XL. Let's do the size comparison here. Look at these things.
Wow.
Like it's
It's
crazy.
so
This has
blue.
it has a 5.7-inch damn display. This thing's only at 6 and it's so huge.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I know it doesn't have front-facing speakers, but that's one of those underrated things about this phone. That bottom firing speaker is like the loudest speaker ever on a phone. On a single firing speaker. What a sweet little phone. If I wasn't reviewing the V30, I'd just take her for a spin this weekend.
Nice little spinneroo.
Yep. I miss her. Old Essential. God, it's laggy. Whew.
God, it's like
All right. So anyway, yeah, you guys decide what you think there. I think at $499, it's definitely worth considering. Now at $699, it was a tough call, but $499, I would say give it a serious thought.
it's good hardware.
All right. So HTC has been teasing stuff. So HTC has an event. I think it's November 2nd. So that's next week. HTC is having some sort of event on November 2nd, and at this point, we're expecting 2 phones, I think. All the rumors are saying some phone called the HTC U11 Life, another phone called the U11 Plus. The U11 Plus is, I think, the one that most of us are excited about after seeing teasers. I think we touched on this last week. It's like the first all-display phone from HTC. Very modern, cool fingerprint reader on the back. It's kind of like what we thought and hoped the HTC U11 would be. Either way, HTC has been teasing this week on Twitter, and they're showing what we believe to be pictures of the U11 Plus, because one of them is of the backside and there's a fingerprint reader on the back, and then the other one is of the front and it shows an all display front.
Dang.
It looks hot. I don't know what else to say about it. Turn off echo.
Well, it's HTC, right? So there's going to be some way that they'll screw this up. And that's all there is to say about that. Sorry, HTC. You know, I give them a chance. I keep giving them a chance because I want them to make a really good phone that people want to buy. And I thought maybe the U11 would be it. But then it's got this ugly front. Like the back is great and all this stuff. And I'm just like, there's something always wrong. Like, why can't they just check all the boxes? This could be the one. You're absolutely right. Hashtag could be, maybe,
because it looks odd. Like the pictures and the renders and stuff we've seen, like it looks pretty good. So we'll again, November 2nd is next week, so we'll know then.
A lot of good phones for 2017, man. I mean, has this been the best year for Android in terms of like hardware and all that?
Yeah, hardware's getting really nice. I know it's all display, and some people don't like all. Well, Ronald in the chat just said, "I hate 18:9." I don't think I hate 18:9.
Come on,
you just
Ronald.
get more. Just get more display. Yeah, it's been a good year for hardware. We've seen everyone just really step it up. Well, the last one we're waiting for is HTC, but we think they're about to do that next week. But it's like the all display trend is kind of taken over. I am not going to complain about it because it means bigger displays and smaller phones. I've always complained about big phones, but now we get, again, look at this thing. This is like
phablets that you can hold.
A big phone. Yeah, this has a 5.7-inch screen, and it's like a one-handed phone. It's just crazy how far we've come this year. You know, like the Galaxy S8. What size displays the Galaxy S8 have? 5.8 inches or something? 5.9? I don't even know. And the Galaxy S8 feels small, the regular one.
It does
like
feel
if you
tiny.
hold that, it feels tiny, which is so weird to say. So yeah, it's been a good year for hardware for sure.
Yeah, I was doing the camera comparison between the V30 Pixel 2 and the Note 8. And the Note 8, I mean, somehow, like, you know, it's so thin, but it's just so long. It's ridiculous. Phone hardware in and of itself has just become so awesome. Yeah. I mean, you know, next week we'll be reviewing the V30, but we've been using it now for a while. And even LG's hardware is getting amazing. Like, what's up with that? Where's all the plastic? Where's the removable battery and all that stuff we expect? It's gone. It's awesome now. They've ossified it. So
they really have. And yeah, these are coming. These are coming next week.
Static Prone in the chat would like to know more info on the OnePlus 5T. We ain't got no info, man. And you know, we're not even talking about rumors, reports, any of that. We're done.
Yeah, you know, we haven't touched on the OnePlus 5T. What's funny about that is it was like a month ago when I thought OnePlus tried to shut down. They told some news outlet, and I apologize who you are, I don't remember. Uh, they said like there's no 5T coming. Did they tell someone that? I swear OnePlus told an outlet there's no OnePlus 5T. And so we just kind of brushed it off. And then all of a sudden, the last like 2 weeks, there's all this hype now starting to build. And you could tell OnePlus is like leaking images to sites and all this stuff. And I don't know.
They're saying next month. I mean, like everything
Next
I'm
month.
seeing, it's ridiculous.
It'll have that all display look. So Oppo, because Oppo and OnePlus are basically the same company. I know OnePlus will tell you they're not. Oppo and OnePlus are essentially the same company, and Oppo has a new phone coming out. And Oppo's previous phone looked exactly like the OnePlus 5. It just didn't have Oppo branding on it, but it was the same damn thing. So Oppo just announced or is about to announce another new phone that looks like a OnePlus 5 with an all display front. So let's try to figure out what the damn name of it is. The Oppo R11S. Here, I'll just throw it in the chat for those who are listening right now. Look, so this is the OnePlus 5T. I think this Oppo phone has slightly lesser specs. Like I think it has like a Snapdragon 6 something. It's not quite as decked out inside, but basically OnePlus is going to take this shell, put their own branding on it, and put a Snapdragon 835 in it and go, look, we did an all display front. And it's like, yes, we know you just remanufacture, used all the leftover parts from Oppo. We get it. I'm assuming this is what we're going to get.
That makes complete sense. But also, I mean, yeah, so the OnePlus 5 hasn't been in stock on their stores. So they're not selling it even anymore.
Yeah, you
but
can't
then
buy that.
Then also let me say, like, I think I talked about this last year, but this whole reiteration only 6 months into a phone's life cycle, and
you
how
were happy about it last year.
No, you're totally screwing any early adopter that was like, you hype this phone, it's got dual cameras, blah blah blah, and then you crap on them by just a little down the road you announce a better phone, full display, yada yada. Yeah. I could go on, and if this is exactly what happens, I will write an opinion piece for the ages, the hottest of hot takes, and I'll just let it go, because OnePlus is doing stuff that just grinds my gears, man. You're stepping on the little guys. They still
make a nice phone, but yeah, it is.
It's rude, man. It's rude.
I don't know. See, I don't think it pissed me off as much last year. I like it that a company like them is able to improve upon stuff that quickly. But yeah, I totally get it. Like, it rubs people the wrong way, especially those people that just got in. But maybe that's why they went out of stock.
Well, yeah, no,
because last time they were selling, I think the 3 up until the 3T launched. Like, somebody might have bought it a week before, and then 3T came out. This one, it's already been out of stock for what, like 2 weeks, the 5, and it doesn't look like it's coming back.
Right.
So at least they're giving a little cushion there. But yeah, this Oppo R11S is the OnePlus 5T. I would almost guarantee that this is the OnePlus 5T.
Well, there you go. You sound pretty confident.
And it looks nice. I'm not saying it doesn't look nice. Just this is probably what you're going to get, which looks like a OnePlus 5 with an all display front and the fingerprint reader moved to the back. It's fine. They'll jack the price up another $30 each. And
Wade County in the chat says every OEM releases multiple phones every year. HTC, LG, Samsung, Motorola. Dude, you got to be kidding me. Wade, it's completely different, man. Like, so if Samsung comes out, let's say they came out in August, following this year's Galaxy S8, and they came out with the Galaxy S8s, which doesn't make any sense at all. But say they did, it has a smaller bump in specs, or the hardware has been changed up, but it's only been kind of like half a year since they released the S8. They hype up the S8, and so a lot of people buy it. Now there's this new one. To me, that seems like the wrong way to do it. Because say if someone's on a contract, or these phones are, people complain about price, so of course they're not going to be able to just drop that one and pick up the new one. It just sucks for people who adopt early.
Yeah, it's different. Like Samsung, they have the S line and the Note line, so they have two separate lines, right? So we know when the S line's coming, we know when the Note line's coming. LG, same thing. We know when the G line's coming, we know when the V line's coming. Google only releases one set of phones every year. Apple does the same thing. Well, this year is a little bit different for Apple. The problem with OnePlus is like this is not a new line of phones. They're just saying, here's a phone, it's awesome. And then 3 or 4 months later, they go, oh, we improved that phone. That one goes away. Here's a new one to replace it. I think that's why you're like annoyed by it. And I understand why you're annoyed by that. That would be like a Galaxy S8. And then 4 months later, the Galaxy S8s, like you just said, with a new Snapdragon, some more RAM, a new dual camera, like they improve it at bigger battery. That would probably piss some people off.
Well, it's not like a huge change. It's almost incremental enough to sort of piss you off. Like, well, why couldn't you just do that in the first place? Why did I buy this crap one? And now with the updated one out only a few months down the road, I feel like I'm getting screwed.
Right.
So
two things in the chat. Pazno says they did this last year. They're doing it again. Should be expected. First of all, when you do something once, I don't expect that you're going to do it again. Yeah. Now, if they do it this year, next year, yeah, I probably am going to start expecting it.
There you go.
Second thing, Joey in the chat right below him says no one will buy their first phone next year, though. I would agree with that. If you're going to do this, and we are going to start expecting this, I'm going to tell everyone when the OnePlus 6 drops next summer, skip the shit out of it. You don't want it because in 4 more months, they're going to upgrade it and offer you the same, better phone at basically the same price. Like that's the problem with OnePlus doing this. Like we're going to tell everyone like, yeah, this new OnePlus 6 is cool, but you should skip it because they're going to have an upgraded version 4 months from now. That's the problem. So yeah, we don't really know anything about the OnePlus 5T. And we haven't really talked about it because all the stuff floating out there isn't really that concrete, other than I'm pretty sure that Oppo R11s is just the phone. So
makes sense to me.
Yep. All right, moving out of there. It was like an impromptu OnePlus 5 session.
Yeah, there you go.
Verizon, in shockingly exciting news, has now decided that if you don't want to just be throttled forever to 720p video on your unlimited plan, you can now pay $10 and they will let you stream whatever you want up to 4K, get all that 1080p action. Thank you, Verizon.
Thank you.
$10 extra. I really hate all wireless carriers. I hate them all.
Yeah, I can't think of like a good carrier right now. Like, like not good in terms of network quality, but just like a good guy carrier.
Yeah, I know people really, really love T-Mobile, and they think John Ledger is just the coolest dude ever.
He's Batman.
But T-Mobile does some crap too, and they have for years. I know they seem to get a pass on a lot of this crap. Like just 2 weeks ago, their mobile without borders thing. It was supposed to be you just travel to Canada and Mexico and just use your plan. No, not anymore. They said like a single % of their users were taking advantage. So now they're just going to screw it for everyone and cap everyone at 5 gig. Like T-Mobile does this stuff too. Everyone who loves T-Mobile, just throwing that out there. Anyways, Verizon, yeah, $10. I think it starts on November. I should know this. November 3rd. So on November 3rd, if you want to stream higher than 720p, Verizon will let you pay $10 extra a month.
Yeah.
What a garbage move.
What are you talking about? That's a deal. $10 a month? That's awesome.
At least T-Mobile, like when they let you pay to get more stuff. What is it? The T-Mobile One Plus or whatever it is. I think they give you some extra benefits with your extra $10 rather than just unthrottling. Like Verizon, I don't think they're giving you any extra benefits. They're just saying like, yeah, you pay, buddy.
You can pay to unlock the speeds that you should maybe get.
Unlock those speeds, but then if you hit your 22 gig limit, they're just going to throttle you anyway, right? So like even if you pay an extra $10, they will still be able to throttle the hell out of your connection if you get to that 22 gig limit.
Static Prone in the chat. I am a prior former T-Mobile employee. They are terrible to work for. You better be careful, man. The T-Mobile mob is out on the internet, and they will find you and they will destroy you. So be careful. You can't
So
talk
much.
smack about T-Mobile on
So
Twitter.
much tank mob.
They
Yeah.
get you. They come after you quick.
I mean, they probably will.
Yeah.
We have to be careful. Every time I say something bad about T-Mobile, our comments just fill up. Oh, you're such a hater. Verizon just pays you so much. I trash on all carriers because they're all terrible in their own ways.
Yeah, don't
You just
people
have to find the one
understand?
that's less terrible for you.
Exactly. We hate everything equally. There's no bias.
Unless you pay us lots of money like Samsung does. Come on, Tim.
Back the truck up. Bring the cash through. Jesus.
Pretty funny. All right, let's see what's up next. Oh, Amazon announced Amazon, the king of hardware these days, right? Not that they make phones and no one would buy their phone, but Amazon announced their first security camera this week called the Amazon Cloud Cam. And it is stupid cheap. $119 for this thing. If you don't have so it's an indoor camera only. If you don't have indoor cameras in your house and that's something you're interested in, I don't know why you wouldn't buy Amazon's. They 1080p, 120-degree angle. It works with Alexa, so you can have it like you can tell it to play on your. I don't know if you can tell it to play on your. Yeah, I think if you have a Fire TV hooked up, you can say like play on my Fire TV. If you have an Amazon Echo Show or their new Spot or whatever that thing is, does night vision, has a live view, it has a speaker and mic built in. It detects motion. They give you 24 hours of free recorded clips for up to 3 cameras. And then they do have plans. Like if you wanted to recognize people and stuff like Nest cameras do, then there's like a plan. You can pay for that stuff. But if you want more than 1 camera, 2 cameras, $200. If you want 3 cameras, $290. I think you could outfit your whole house for less than $300 of these things. If you bought 3 Nest Cam IQs, you're looking at like $500. So kind of crazy.
Obviously, we need to talk about Amazon Key.
Yes, so that's next, right? After I'm done ranting a minute. Like, so anyways, I'm just saying like their cloud like if I didn't already have stupid cameras all over my house from Nest that were overpriced,
yeah, you guys,
I would totally dive into the old Amazon cloud thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Amazon Key though is this alternate thing they announced that kind of goes with it a little bit. So Amazon Key, for $250, you get a special cloud cam that's like the Key edition. And then they also send you a smart lock. And for $250, they'll send you those, and you can pay to have somebody like No, I'm sorry, you don't pay. It's actually free. They will come and install the lock on your door, put your camera wherever the hell you want it, type of thing. But the other part of this is when you have Amazon deliveries incoming, you can okay the Amazon delivery driver to get a special like unlock code kind of thing. It's not like he's actually punching in a code on your lock. It like kind of does this automatically through his app, whatever, and it unlocks your door. And then he gets to deliver your package in your house when you're not there, shut the door, and then everything locks back up and you get picture confirmation because you have a camera and all this stuff. Amazon also says that you can allow like guests to have access and stuff like that too. But the big thing is like, you cool with that? Letting Amazon dude like drop a package inside your house?
I'm totally fine with that because let's say I'm the first person that this Uber driver who drops off this package feels like he wants to steal some stuff. First of all, that could never go down in my house. I know you know my dogs. Like
they would murder a dude.
My dogs would not allow anyone to come inside this house. So, but if I didn't have those dogs, and they decide to steal from me, so be it, dude. Amazon is going to pay for everything that this person took or anything like that. I'm sure they've got to be some type of liable, right? Because this driver goes through their system. So I'm not worried about it at all. If you're a guy, you know, who wants, or a person, ladies included, have to be inclusive. If you're someone who, you know, wants the privacy and all that stuff, I totally get it. But if you're someone who may be in a sketchy neighborhood or something, you don't want your expensive package that's coming to be left out on your stoop, then it's nice to have the option of a guy who should be a pretty secure background check guy, I'm guessing. He just drops it in and he's off. And you got the camera, so you can literally watch the dude just drop the package off. Yeah. And if he doesn't, just call 911. Say, hey, someone's breaking into my house. He's on camera right now.
Yeah.
I don't see anything ever happening because you let a random stranger from Amazon Key into your house. I just don't see it.
And something could happen, but as you
Sure.
just said, there's all recorded. The Amazon knows who the person was. They know the key that they got to get in the house. You have it on camera. They probably have it on camera. You know who the person was. I guess unless somebody like criminal times it, like busts down the door behind the Amazon guy as he's delivering your package and then
Sure.
robs your house. There's things that can certainly happen there, but
Yes.
I don't know that I'm super uncomfortable with it. I mean, my front door is right behind me, so I'm not the type of person that has to deal with this. But yeah, like you said, there's neighborhoods where you might not want your package sitting out all day. You might be out of town for a couple days. You might not be back till midnight. You don't want that sitting there. It's kind of a cool deal, but yeah, it's a little weird just letting people in.
Maybe if this was the 50s or 60s or something, it seems like everyone is just afraid of everyone else right now. There's a lot of fear, and I don't want to let that fear kind of like overshadow the kind of coolness that this is. Like you have to, I guess I just give a little bit of faith, right, to humanity, that if I give someone access to my home, they're not going to screw me. So, because they're there to drop off a package and get out.
It's so
Again,
weird to have lived through a time period where, like, I grew up in a pretty small town in Montana,
right.
like less than 10,000 people, right? I grew up, we didn't lock doors to our car. We didn't lock our front doors, our back door. Like, we didn't lock anything,
No.
right? I go back there now, like, we lock everything in that town, right? Like, my parents still live there and they live out of town, not in the town anymore where we used to. And they still lock everything. Their cars are locked. I mean, like times have just changed. Obviously, you and I, we live in Portland now. We definitely lock everything at all times. It's just weird to have gone through that. And so, kind of what you just said, it's sad that we're all so worried that everyone's just going to rob us at all. Like, that's the fear at all times. Like, someone's going to break in, someone's going to rob us. I can't believe you would let Amazon come in. They're just going to rob you. Like, they're probably not. There's some safeguards there too. It is kind of sad. It's sad to think about.
Well, it's sad. I mean, I get the hysteria over it. I mean, Twitter even did a big moment yesterday, like, "Oh, Amazon's going to let their drivers come into your house now. Like, how do you feel about that?" And people are like, "I would never let that happen." It's like,
Yeah.
dude, I mean, it's just a service. You have to sign up for it anyway. If you don't want it, you don't want it. It's no big deal. Like, someone could find this
It's
to
not
be
an
very
opt-out service.
beneficial.
You don't have to opt out if you're in.
No, exactly. No one's going to throw the package through a window because you didn't opt in for them to come through the front door.
Yeah.
So I love people doing their thing on Twitter and expressing their opinions and all that good stuff. So again, I have a huge dog. If my package deliverer is listening, please don't try to come into my house. You may not make it out. But for the I think it's a cool service. It's at least a cool idea. Like, the idea is neat. So I could leave it at that.
Yeah. I think it's fine too. If I didn't work from home all day every day,
Exactly,
I
that
would
too.
probably consider it. Sure, why not?
Yep.
All right. In final news today, the Misfit Vapor Watch.
What's
How
that?
we've been talking about this thing for a long time. The Misfit Vapor Watch is now up for pre-order, and it ships sometime really soon, right? End of October, any day now, something like that. Do we know when this thing's shipping?
No, it's up for pre-order.
I thought their website listed. I'm trying to get their website to load, but it's slow.
It might have an estimation.
It's out of stock now. Apparently, people ordered the hell out of this thing.
Geez.
I'm pretty sure it was like an October 31st ship date. Now it says it's out of stock and won't ship till the 7th.
Yeah, it's not. It's currently unavailable on Amazon now. So just who knows?
The rose gold and blue now is out of stock. Ships in December. People actually bought this thing.
Dude, I mean, it's a really nice looking smartwatch for only $200. I mean, it looks like a first gen Moto 360. Minus
gen.
the second gen, excuse me. Yeah. But the rounded display looks cool.
Yeah. So Misfit, for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, Misfit Vapor was announced at CES, this past CES, so almost a year ago. And at the time, we went, that looks really cool. What OS is it running? And they were like,
Can't tell you.
We're not talking about that. We just want everyone to know that it works on all platforms. And we said, really? You're not gonna tell us the software? And they said, no, we're not. And you can't touch the thing either. Don't touch it. And so we didn't. And then months went by, and then they finally announced, hey, it runs Android Wear. And we were like, of course it does. What the hell else was it going to run? And then a couple months after that, when you still couldn't buy the thing, we discovered that, well, it doesn't actually have GPS like they once told us it did. It's now just connected, which means it has to be connected to your phone to have GPS. And so that sucked. And then they delayed it. And then now it's finally available. So it's kind of been this long, drawn out thing. It looks really nice. Specs wise, it's up to par with most, except it doesn't have NFC or GPS, but it has like a touch bezel. Is the touch bezel still there?
Yeah, it's still there, and it does have connected GPS, just not standalone GPS.
Right, which every watch has.
Not every watch. But
I mean, I'm pretty sure the G Watch, which has nothing, has connected GPS. I mean, when you connect it, it works.
Well, I mean, the point being, it's a Misfit product, right? So you think kind of, I guess, fitness, or it's kind of like faux fitness, really, because if you're really into fitness, you're not buying Misfit anyway.
You're not buying this.
Exactly. So I get it. It should have probably had standalone, and it once did. Back when it was vaporware, it did have standalone GPS, but now that it's a real thing, it has connected. You know, they kept that price down though. $199.
$199 is a decent price.
It's not bad looking either, I gotta say. So we're on the list. I would
buy the G Watch over this for that price. The G Watch is like $180 typically because it's always on sale. And the only thing it doesn't do compared to this is do heart rate. But who wants this probably terrible fake heart rate monitor thing anyway?
You're not buying no G Watch. This thing
G Watch style. Watch style. That's what it's called. The watch style.
I think it's a very handsome looking device. We're on the list for a unit, so if and when we get one in, if it really is a real device, we'll get one and we'll check it out.
I think the last watch we looked at was the G Watch Sport. And I keep calling it G Watch, the Watch Sport and Watch Style. That was almost a year ago. That was February, I think.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
That's how dead Android Wear is.
Well, and I was going to say, and that was the last time I ever wore an Android Wear device, too. Yeah. So, I mean, the platform does seem kind of dead right now. There's just, where else can you go with it?
Joey says his girl loves the G Watch style. See, he called it the G Watch too. It's just style. The watch style, by the way. But watch. Yeah, I actually thought that was nice. I just wanted NFC in the damn thing so I could be modern, pay for things, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it had that rotating crown. We haven't seen any rotating crowns since those two first watches, right? The Watch Sport, Watch Style. No one has a rotating crown since then, including this thing.
Well, it's got a bezel, real rotating bezel. Who needs a crown?
Right. It's like a touch-sensitive bezel.
Yeah. This is awesome, dude. Believe me, you're going to want this thing.
I know, this is all you. I do not want any part of this thing.
This thing will be awesome. So yeah, I mean, this says out of stock, ships 11/7/2017. The jet black on black. So that's, I mean,
I think initially, like if you ordered right away, I think you were supposed to get it within the next week, but
that's not bad.
You're right. It's just unavailable on Amazon.
Yeah.
What the?
And there was when I originally did that post, there was only that one color too, that like rose gold or champagne, whatever it was, called tone. Huh. Yeah, very odd.
This is very odd.
I mean, and this is also coming after a delay. They pushed it. It was supposed to be late summer. And I had one person in particular on Twitter who was like, Tim, do you know anything about the Misfit Vapor? Like, when's it coming? They're lying to people. They said it was coming. I was like, dude, I wouldn't worry about it. Like, who cares, really? You're the only person. Chill. So he snatched them all up and now they're sold out. Yeah. So
good stuff.
I love it. Android Wear.
I always love it when these when things that we just assume are never ever coming actually do show up. I don't know what these companies are thinking, but sell away.
Sell away if you can.
Sell away. Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
I can't think of anything right off. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Of course, stay warm or stay cool or, you know, whatever the weather's doing over there. Climate change is real. So good luck with that.
And again, we'll have V30 reviews up next week. After that, I'm probably diving into some Moto X4 action. I have both the Android One and the regular Moto X4. So anyone that actually cares about those phones, I'm probably going to use them for a while. Tim will probably be on that Penguin action.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, next week will be, the big V30 week. So I'm looking forward to that.
That should be fun. All right, cool. Well, that's it. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Yes, be safe out there. We are Droid Life.
Peace.